How are you there? Let us debunk the propaganda, the ZANU-PF propaganda, or rather the propaganda of rogue elements within our governments and our countries in Africa. This is how the propaganda goes. It goes like this. It says, America is the devil. It's a big evil country that is stealing from Africa together with our white colonizers. And Russia and China are our saviors. Prince in shining armor. I'm going to debunk that today and come to a conclusion that the United States is not Messiah, but is best. And China and Russia are certainly not the prince that was promised. On the contrary, they are the reasons why we are where we are today. Governments like ZANU-PF and the ANC will have you believe that because the Russians help them fight the war of liberation, therefore it goes to say that they should be our all-weather friends and we must maintain close ties to them and disassociate ourselves from the Western world. Now, take a look at Russia and see all the countries that are aligned with Russia. You will see that they are all rogue governments that hate their own people. Look at Bashir al-Assad, they're in Syria. Look at all the countries that Russia is destroying in the Sahel region. Look at all the African governments that side with Russia. They are all led by dictators who don't care about their people, their economies. They only care about lining up their own pockets and their children. Just like Idi Mnangagwa. He cares about Idi Mnangagwa and his Mnangagwa clan. They are the people that have destroyed the whole of Zimbabwe, pillaged the whole country, just to benefit a few in the family of Emmerson Mnangagwa. Thank God in South Africa they've got the DA, they've got these white people here, the so-called world monopoly capital. Imagine if South Africa didn't have white people, the ANC would run South Africa the way ZANU-PF is running Zimbabwe. You know, I stayed in the locations. Like people do not like to speak the truth sometimes. The truth is this. We demonize people that preach good and we praise people do evil. Amaginza, they were called top skelegate. You know, even Mendoza singing, I'm a top skelegate. You know, we celebrate crime as black people. Criminals are celebrated and like are hailed as the heroes. And church people are made to look like villains or fools or barre. Do you understand? Yes, you will have criminals as government leaders. And what do criminals do except to destroy the masses, to steal from the masses? That's what ZANU-PF is doing. That's what the ANC is doing. That's what Russia is doing. And all of their friends. That's what they are doing. Together with China. You can look at the Chinese miracle and then say, oh, yeah, they lifted people out of poverty. True that. But there's massive oppression in China. Just take a look at the Chinese that are leaving China, that are running away from China. And where they're going? They're going to the so-called evil America. Where are the Zimbabweans going to when they run from ZANU-PF? The so-called evil America. Even the ZANU-PF kids, after they steal the money, where do they go and eat it? In the so-called evil Western countries. You get the picture. So it's a lie. The Western countries are not the evil ones. the Western countries have got a model of good governance, reliable elections, court systems that function, good institutions, and therefore they were able to create prosperity for their societies. Unlike Russian-led societies, oligarchs only care about themselves. That's why South Africa will not arrest Vladimir Putin when he comes here. Because the ANC is on the way to doing exactly what Putin is doing. To steal and to ally the pockets of the few. That is why ZANU-PF is empowered by the ANC. Because one of the things that is not really spoken a lot is how many ANC people have got mines in Zimbabwe? How many ANC people, comrades, are enriched by ZANU-PF? So you can see that ZANU-PF and the ANC are the enemies of the ordinary Zimbabweans, together with that Vladimir Putin who's coming here. And all of this is an orgy of raping poor people, sponsored by Russia and China, led by Russia and China, and followed by all the rogue elements, all the rogue governments, especially in Africa. But if you look at all the countries that are pro-Western, they have got good governance system, there's prosperity in their countries, democracy, human respect for human rights, quality of lives are improved. Take a look at Israel, a gem in the Middle East there. Israel is a force for change in the Middle East. It is like a hoover that is cleaning the Middle East. Thank God there is Israel there. Otherwise, the Middle East will be a disaster. They are an innovative society, and then it tells me, it becomes very clear to me that for Zimbabwe to be successful, we need to forget this Russia-China nonsense and align ourselves with the Western world. Simple as that, straightforward, the country will be fine. These ZANU-PF liars, propagandists, who will tell you, hey, but Tony Riri, these Westerners, there is no Westerners who want to steal anything from you, Zimbabwe. If America wants your gold, they will buy it from the gold miners. Okay? If America wants your platinum or whatever, they will buy it from you. It's not like the platinum in the ground just comes up for free. There's cost incurred in mining. All right. The Americans have got the deepest and most liquid capital markets in the world. They do not need to go and steal resources. Through their QE programs, they can print enough money to buy all the resources around the world. So, good governance systems are demanded from you, ZANU-PF. But because you have got crimes against humanity and you want to protect yourself by holding the whole country at ransom, just to protect a few of you, even if we was to say to you, okay, we forgive you, we forgive you, get out of power, let's have an agreement, you still don't want. Why? Because now it's not about forgiveness anymore. It's about your desire to continue stealing and destroying the people. Rogue elements. How does the international community allow such people to keep on holding power? How? So you see clearly, China and Russia will never tell Emmerson Mnangagwa that, Mr. E.T., if you want us to continue supporting you, treat your people right, build your economy well. They'll never tell them that, because they're in the same boat. And that is why Mnangagwa supports them. That is why the ANC supports Vladimir Putin. Because they're in this boat together of destroying the whole world. So this is actually not a Zimbabwean war. It's a global war against bad actors. The bad actors stretch all the way from Harare to the rest of Africa to Eastern Europe, in Moscow, and then Beijing. That's a war on a global scale. And I've been saying that the international community need to realize now that the fight in Zimbabwe is not just a Zimbabwean war, it's a world war. It's part of a big war. And if they help us win the war, then the forces of good become strong. And we can hold hands together to fight the war on a global scale. You can't afford anymore to say, let the Zimbabweans deal with their own issues. Now, whilst you do that, China and Russia are making inroads into the rest of Africa. And before you know it, they'll be so powerful and try to overthrow, through subversion and other means, the world order that has brought us peace after the Second World War. So we need to protect that. And we need to push back on this Russia and China expansion into Africa and in other parts of the world. The US has done a good job in Saudi Arabia, UAE, especially in the Arab states, together with Israel, in penetrating there. Otherwise, China and Russia would have created havoc to the world with all the power and the resources that are in that region. So right now, Washington and the West and our Western friends must not rest on their laurels, because China and Russia are forming up and made major moves into Africa. We need to push back country by country, including Zimbabwe. You understand? And the black Africans need to learn right now that the West is not your enemy. Okay? China is. Vladimir Putin is. He's the one who's sponsoring the governments that are oppressing you. However, the Western world is seeking good governance and promoting peace and prosperity for all. If Africa does not understand that, let Zimbabwe join the Western world without Africa. I mean, take a look at Botswana and Zambia, allies of the United States that are doing better right now because of that. Just becoming an ally of the USA changes your fortunes overnight. It's a no-brainer to me. If Zimbabweans keep on fighting this nonsense, Chimurenga war nonsense, the Chimurenga war, the war must be against it and his family, man. There's no war fighting against Americans. It's just a lie. It's just things that Chiwenga and Mnangagwa spew from their mouth so that they can keep controlling and keeping Zimbabweans poor and going nowhere. Do you understand? There's no war against America. There is no war against America. The war is against ET and his clan. Once we get rid of them, we put our country back to the international community, then we're gonna have good success. Then we're gonna have good success. You know what I'm talking about? Good night.